Ready to rock and roll?
Yeah.
All right, it is 6:04 PM. I'm going to call this Board of Appeals meeting to order, Thursday, June 4th, 2026. The first item on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. So we'll do that.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Right. We have our lovely clerk here. If you'd like to call the roll to make sure we have a quorum.
Thank you. Chairman Gerke,
Here.
Mr. Quaid,
Here.
Mr. Donald,
Here.
Mr. Polson, Mr. Long, Mr. Rogers.
Here.
We have a quorum.
We have a quorum. Perfect. Okay, so this would be the section for public comments. However, I'm wondering if we want to have an explanation of what we're doing here before we haven't, if we have any public comments, maybe we can give a little bit of insight into what's going on.
And I'll just say public comments are different than the public hearing comments. So you want me to start now?
I think you can,
Okay.
just in case there is anything that's that comes up.
All right. Well, the Board of Appeals is meeting today. Mr. Mark Gibb, who is the owner of 217 North Wilson Street, submitted a request for a variance to exceed the maximum allowable height for an accessory structure within an RS1 zone property. This request was received by administration after the applicant had applied for a residential building permit through our inspector, Jeremy Pfeiffer, and was denied due to noncompliance with the Village of Fredonia Code of Ordinances. You'll see in my memo here, I cite the ordinances. It's 575, section 83B1 on accessory uses under placement restrictions. The maximum property for accessory structure shall not exceed 15 feet in height in all districts. And I'll note that Mr. Gibb is requesting anywhere from 22 to 24 feet in height. Municipal ordinances are intended to provide consistency and maintain aesthetic compatibility among similarly sized buildings and uses. My role as zoning administrator is to enforce these ordinances as they are written. And so based on the information provided within the ordinances, I will recommend denial of the request. But per Wisconsin state statutes and local ordinance, the applicant must demonstrate the following criteria if he wants to justify a variance. A, must have an unnecessary hardship. B, must create or be opposed to unique property limitations of the property. And then there must be no harm to the public interest. And so I'll pause there because that is where our attorney can take over on what do those three things mean.
Essentially, to grant the variance, you have to find three criteria, all three exist. The first one is unnecessary hardship. And there the idea is that compliance by the applicant with the terms of the zoning ordinance would be, would cause an unnecessary hardship, or would, what the law says is it would, complying with the ordinance would unreasonably prevent the owner from using the property for its permitted purpose, or render him conforming with the restrictions unnecessarily burdensome. Essentially, some of this is, those kind of terms that are hard to define, but you should consider the hardship. One of the hardships that you should consider is whether there's hardship due to property restrictions. The classic case is the pie-shaped lot, where essentially all the setbacks would push in so a person couldn't comply with setbacks, or if there's steep slopes, or if there's wetlands on a property. These are the kind of physical characteristics that you would consider when considering a hardship. Normally, you would not consider self-imposed hardships. I have a lot of toys. I have a boat. I have this. I need a large garage because I have all, that's a self-imposed hardship. Or financial hardships. I want to build it this way because it's cheaper. That's not something you should consider. You're really supposed to consider the hardship due to the property limitations. And last but not least, you're supposed to consider harm to public interests. And these are things like, what are the purposes of the code? Are you trying to honor the underlying purposes of the code? Are you promoting the health, safety, and welfare, within the zoning district? Things like that. So these are the things you should consider and you have to make all three of these findings in order to grant the variance. Okay?
Okay. So I see why you had talked about it being public comment there. So let's, before we go any further, I guess, is there anything that's not on the agenda that anybody wants to make a public comment on? We'll go through that first. Okay, hearing that, our next order would be to approve the consent agenda, and then we will go into the public hearing where we can discuss this further. So the consent agenda consists of the minutes of June 19th, 2025 Board of Appeals meeting. And again, we just need a motion to approve that when anybody's ready to do that.
I motion to approve the minutes of last meeting.
Sounds good.
Second.
All right, I have a motion. I have a second. Are there any other questions or concerns? If not, I'll call the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries unanimously. Okay. Now I would say that we are in order to enter the public hearing. So this would be the part of the agenda where we would all be able to discuss this. And I thank you guys for going through that earlier. But now would be any questions or concerns from the audience. If anybody did want to make any comments regarding this, I would invite you to step up to the microphone and state your name so that we're able to record our minutes accurately and have record of who's here speaking. So. Correct.
Like your neighbors that don't have a
Yep.
problem.
Yep.
Whoever wants to come up and say something.
Because essentially what happens is we'll have the public hearing and then we'll close the public hearing and that's when we'll start deliberating amongst ourselves as to what we want to do. So, okay, perfect.
My name is Jason Gooderman, I live at 212 North Street. I think. All right. I would like to see it go through. I think Mr. Gibb has the nicest house in the entire area on my street. And he keeps everything always nice and clean. And everything, his entire area looks sharp at all times, so I I don't know how old the code is, but I would imagine it was written quite a long time. And they never expected trucks to get as big as what we've got. They never expected half of the things that we even own to be as large as they are. So I'd like to see him get the variance.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Yeah, anybody wants to come up, please. Just remember to state your name and all that good stuff. Okay.
And I do. It's not considered, right? Yeah, but, I know, I feel the same way, he does take care of everything. He never gets explained out. And if he does do a project or whatever, it's always done all the time.
Perfect. Thank you.
Well, Mark, you have one. I want to build a garage for 12 months. The only way to do it according to these rules is to plan them. I know what that's. The other problem I have is these rules just seem outdated nowadays when most of the homes are being built with 8-12 roof pitches. You can't build the standard garage with an 8-foot door with an 8-12 roof pitch at that size. Can't happen. You're gonna be over, you're gonna be 20 feet or over.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I agree that
to go through. It's, taken to, there are, one comment I do have is he's trying to go the channels. There are people that are putting up little sheds and decks without permit. Just look around home. You'll see little wheat farm sheds out there. Need permit. So, are trying to do it the right way. I think you should think about.
Thank you. All right. Does anybody else want to speak on anything? Anybody else? Say. I think there's only one person that hasn't said anything. You good? Two people? Yeah, okay. Yep, sure. I mean, you're here, you might as well, right? Come on, step up there, yeah.
Large property. Down in the middle. You should have. It's not about right.
I love it. What's that? Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, if there is no other, comments on this or anything like that, I think we can probably close the public hearing and we can move on to deliberate amongst ourselves as to what we want to do. So, we would need a motion to close that public hearing.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing. I'll second.
All right. I have a motion. I have a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Okay, next is items for action and or discussion. So this is, again, this possible action on a Gibbs variance request on 217 North Wilson Street in Fredonia. Just a couple of things that I want to say, and there's a couple of comments that were made during public hearing. So this body's decision or job is to decide whether or not we want to approve this variance based on how the zoning code and how the codes are laid out amongst us. And as the attorney and as the administrator were saying, we need to decide if those criteria are met to approve it, based on the requested variance, right? And the criteria that they're looking for. As far as the permits or people doing things without permits and things like that, that is a village thing that they need to take into consideration. And if that's truly accurate, then I would encourage you as the administrator to make sure that that is being taken care of and the inspectors as well, because that shouldn't happen either.
Correct.
Looking at this, I know the lot, I'm pretty sure that I sold the house to you that you live in now. So, I know the lot. I know it's very deep. I know that I believe it slopes off quite a ways and then there's a flat area on the back of there, correct?
Basically, garage is sort of basement.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I guess, I'm torn on this one because I feel like, yeah, it's probably not going to hurt anything, right? And it won't be, but at the same time, those codes are there for a reason, right? And so it's not just, oh, they're trying to prohibit us to do those things. It's because in the village, if we start granting variances to different people, they can come back and same thing, be like, well, this guy had a 20-foot shed, so we should be able to have a 35-foot shed, right? And you have to be careful as a body to just make sure that you're not snowballing in effect and saying, okay, well, now it's a wild, wild west, we can do anything. But I completely understand where you're coming from as well. So that's what I would say on that matter. Anybody else have anything to add?
I think he's following all the criteria. The only thing we're really discussing is the height of this garage.
Yeah.
Because you're fitting in the footprint that we require, your setbacks are what's required. The difference is the height. And as the attorney had mentioned before, we have bigger toys now, so then you want this 8 or 12, is it an 8-foot door? The bigger garage door is 8-foot or
12-foot.
12-foot.
Mm-hmm.
So if I don't get the variance, then I'm gonna force him to do a flat 12, so then I got more cost in the engineering. He's not gonna be happy because it's flat 12. But that's all everything I told.
Well, and again, from what I we ran into this last meeting where we used to be able to hold hands and say kumbaya and make sure everybody's okay with it and pass these little rules, but the rules are there for a reason. And our body is not allowed to change the rules. We don't write them, we don't change them, we do variances. And, I mean, I don't see a problem with this, but on the same token, it's according to the way it's spelled out, and it's self-imposed because you want to have this bigger garage door. You could do a smaller garage door and you could still get your pitch, but you wouldn't be able to fit your toys in. Is that kind of true?
Well, it just came to the house, right? I lowered the pitch, but my house has 8-12.
Yeah.
If I matched that, it'd be even higher, I dropped it down 6-12. Just because I thought it would still look good next to the house.
I personally think the aesthetics are really important. I mean, you want it to look nice in your backyard, your neighbors are apparently not having a problem with it. The only thing is the height, and I don't know what to do about that. But, you're willing to go to 22 instead of 24, as you're changing the pitch, as I understand when you read this thing.
25.
Like 22-foot high instead of 24, because you can change your pitch a little bit, it'll still aesthetically look good with your home.
Right, I already, on the plan to drop it to 6-12.
Yes.
I think even a 4-12 would probably look okay, but it still puts me over my.
What height does that put you at?
That-
What height does that put you at? I guess, because in your, you know, your write-up here, it says that you're willing to.
And the 6-12 would put you where, 20.
That would be dropping the book pitch to a 4-12.
I mean, each property or each case is individual. I mean, regardless of what we have for rules, and that we've made decisions in the past where we've granted people variances and feel little need to solve their problem for them, and go back 6 months later and they didn't do anything that they were supposed to. So I looked at your property. It's very deep and got a pretty good drop off in the back. I think aesthetically, what you're finding there is probably not objectionable at all. I think you've got a good design. You know, I think it would not hurt the surrounding properties at all. I don't have a problem with it.
I know that, it doesn't matter to, it doesn't make a difference, we don't make the rules, but when was this code written?
I was going to say the same thing. When was it?
Well, it was recodified, Dan, I think you were even on the board when it,
See how much I remember.
yeah, sorry, but it was before me, but you must have just came on, so.
Oh, it's 2019 then. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
right before I came on. Yeah.
That was recodified as a whole.
Correct,
Right,
and the plan commission did revamp accessory structures, what is that, maybe 3 years ago now, when we talked about setbacks. So it was looked at even more recent.
And I tend to agree with everybody else that said, you know, I drive past your house probably 20 times a day sometimes, if we just live on our side of driveway close, and I know exactly where we're at. I don't know that anybody outside of your back neighbors and side neighbors probably ever see the shed. If I'm thinking of where it's going. I think we may, in my mind, if we could get into that 20 to 22 foot range and satisfy different height things, I'd be in favor of.
So I think it's helpful when if you guys are leaning towards granting a variance, one, deciding kind of what that is going to be. And then if so, you know, we should start to look at these check boxes we got to check off. How is he proving that it's an unnecessary hardship? Like if he doesn't get that, you know, beyond 15 feet, why is it an unnecessary hardship for the applicant? And then once he fulfills that, then we go to the next checkbox.
What do you guys think?
Well, I mean, it's certainly, I mean, it's so low back there that, I mean, I'm with you 100%. That's what I would want to raise the thing up so it matches the whole contour. You got a big house and you shut back. So that it's an unnecessary hardship.
With all.
I mean, I'm all about aesthetics.
Yeah, I mean, the lot does. I know what that lot is because like I said, I know the one that is right next door.
I think he's come to the board also with a good faith to minimize the height if needed.
Mhm.
If that's one of the boxes that we need to check from a hardship side of things. He's willing to work with us or with the board, the village.
So it's not one of the boxes, but it's,
Oh, it's not.
it's a nice gesture.
Just reading out some justification.
Yeah.
Okay.
So do you maybe want to start with unnecessary hardship and like, again, just summarize what that definition is?
Yeah, I mean, the idea is that compliance with the code would be unnecessarily burdensome on Mr. Gibb. I guess he's made the argument that you know, by complying, if he complies with the code, his roof will be flat or near flat. And that would either wouldn't look good or, you know, wouldn't be aesthetically comparable with his house, wouldn't be good for the surrounding neighborhood. That's sort of the argument he's making. I think is it due to the property limitations? Well, the property slopes off in the back. The property probably promotes having a taller garage, as everyone's pointed out, because it drops in the back, so it's probably going to be less noticeable. And everyone here, I think I've heard from each board member, I don't think anyone's arguing that it doesn't that it harms the public interests. I mean, I think everybody thinks it would look nice. It would be good, you know, the neighbors speak favorably about it.
The immediately public that would be affected.
Right. So probably no issue there. I think as your administrators pointed out, the hangup is, you know, whether you can find that there is an unnecessary hardship, whether the code is dated when people have larger vehicles in the current world of larger vehicles, and whether the property limitations, you know, hold the applicant back from having a shorter garage.
So I guess the question, Mr. Gibb, is why is your application when everyone, and again, I say this as an example, if everyone else can meet that 15-foot height, why are you coming to this body asking for 20 to 24 feet?
Well. Yeah. Well, if we want to go, break rules, I can't build a garage that tall if I did it, approve them of, building commission, if I connected to my house, but here's my, I can't afford to connect it to my house, too expensive. That's the limit.
Why can't you connect it to your house?
What's that?
Why can't you connect it to your house?
Can't connect it with a house made out of so that was that. I think we'd be on it.
I think we'd be in the setbacks.
Yeah, setback on the side.
The land itself slows down if you put it next to the house. It's just not.
Yeah.
There's a lot of backfill.
So back to my original question, I think what this body needs to hear is the reason why you want the higher height versus a 15-foot height. Like, is there a use of the garage? Is there like what are you doing in there?
I want to ride, but one thought, ride on that platform. Engineering. If it's all designed and right, field open or snow. I don't think your neighbors want a flat roof, right? Like it's getting matched.
Aesthetically, design you want, so it sounds about the best. That's going to only increase your property values and your neighbor's property values as well.
Yeah, it all goes back to the aesthetics and the good reason, happy wife, you know. Word, you know, that's important right there.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Sorry, please keep discussing. I have kind of an emergency text message I need to send here real quick, so I am listening, but.
All right. So we checked off no harm to public interest. That's the easy one. Why don't we get to unique property limitations? So I think the attorney, we talked about the lower elevation of your property, right, sure grants the ability for you to go higher without it looking wonky. But is the property itself causing a hardship or is it causing a benefit, right? What I'm hearing is that your property is uniquely elevated that, yeah, you can put up a taller building and it won't affect your neighbor.
I mean, I looked at a lot of different.
Mhm.
And most of them now are like 80 feet, 90 feet the height of the house.
Sure.
But even at this, so it exceeds the height of my house and its location. Actually a lot lower. Actually from the street. I can see much. With the exception.
I had a hard time seeing your backyard at all when I was going through the buildings to tell everybody trying to look at it. So, I mean, I don't. Again, aesthetically, I think it looks nice. I think that, aren't these things individual? I mean, it's not like we're setting a precedent where people are gonna come in here and say,
Yep.
"Well, you did it. We can do
Absolutely.
this. We can correct. We're doing this on an individual one-to-one basis. Guys have a whole property.
Mhm.
He wants to put a higher garage. Good for him for wanting to put a bigger garage door in. And it's gonna look aesthetically good in his backyard. And then neighbors don't complain. And, again, we want our town to look nice. I think aesthetically nice, just get rid of the thing and coming into town and have them say that thing. But I mean, he's trying to do the right thing and make his house look good and his backyard look good. Neighbors approve it. I just don't see a problem with it at all. I mean, if we can try to keep it down instead of 24, get it to 22 or something, if there's a magical number, it'll make everybody happy.
You have the right to grant the variance that you wish to grant. So if you're saying it should have the 612 pitch and be limited to 21 feet, or I can't remember the exact numbers, Mr. Gibb, but you can do that.
Yeah, you said.
And I'll say to play devil's advocate, if Mr. Gibb, is seeing other communities that have an ordinance that's more attractive, right? The proper process for that is for him to go to the Board of Trustees, ask for ordinances to be updated, and then follow through with that application of that process.
And that process has happened
Yep.
as a result of
Yeah.
these discussions in the past,
Yep.
which has been great.
I just want to note that they haven't seen anybody write an application as nice as you. This was like right down the line and this was awesome. Easy to understand. I mean, I'm gonna played it towards yourself a little bit, but it certainly was nice. It kind of touched on.
So how far below your current house pitch does this fall?
I'm gonna say 15 feet or something. I mean, it's really down there.
That's a big drop. The garage, probably the top of the garage would probably be the top of mine, a little bit below the top of my wall or my Bible stuff. Will be under my wall. Wish I had your problem, so my back goes up.
I wish I had your backyard. I said almost an acre in the village. All right. Well, yeah, like I said, I struggle on this one because I know what, I know the correct pathway to do something like this. However, at the same time, I do feel like you've put together a very reasonable request and a reasonable application as to why this board or this body could approve it. So,
If I could, I mean, your administrator has laid out the path for Mr. Gibb. If you can't make the findings and you deny the variance, I mean, Mr. Gibb arguably still has another path to seek the text amendment for the zoning code. And if indeed 15 feet is out of date, and he can convince the board of that, the village board of that, then that could very well happen. And then he could have his garage with no variance.
But this is why we have a variance. I mean, at 15 feet may not be out of whack for everybody else in town, but for him it is. It's just, you know, yeah, change all the rules for this, we keep the rules the way they are, and make.
I guess there's a,
You know,
you're correct. There's two arguments there.
Yeah.
Yes.
And as far down as that is, I don't, another 2 feet on that structure. Gonna make any difference.
What height can you get to? Like if we say, we grant a variance saying no higher than. 'Cause that's the other thing. I don't want us to come back and have to redo this again and say, oh, just kidding, I can't do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you have it for 612? Do you have it for 612?
This is, on 6.
And what is that height?
So the 612 is the pitch that actually is lower than what you got.
This one says max height. This one. 21 to, that's not really.
Which pitch is that?
By
21 2.
I know, so, yeah.
Yeah, take a picture, so then,
I think it's because.
Yeah.
It's a quite small, but it does seem to say 20.
I'm trying to you.
Yeah, it should exceed 22 feet.
Sorry, say that again. 22, say that again, 22. 22 feet? 22 feet.
Yeah, 22 feet.
All right. I could be mumbling, I was still upset because I was late to the meeting.
Because we were driving around your convertible is what you
I
were
was
doing.
back in my camper here.
Oh, okay. So what is the pleasure of the board? Are we have any more discussion that we want to do on this, or should we? I think we all kind of. I'm not normally one to decide that these are good things to do. I think, like, for my reasons, like I said prior. However, I see why you're coming to us and asking us for this. Do you need it to be 12 feet? Do you need the garage door to be 12 feet? How tall is your wife's truck? Oh,
I didn't know it was boxed, which makes more sense.
yeah, I know. I was like, what kind of truck are you driving? I mean,
Yeah. Probably better parking at the garage on the street. Yeah. You know, and again, I'll say it one more time, I lean towards, we have people in the community that have beautiful homes and are trying to make sure they're immaculate, to make sure that everything fits cohesively with the neighbors and everything, and we shouldn't punish them for trying to do what the American dream is, to do your house, build a nice garage,
mhm.
and it's not anything outlandish, everything's in there except for the height. And it's got the lower part of his backyard that's not gonna make it stick above everything else when you drive down all of a sudden, it's big garage to get out there. That's just my opinion. I don't make the rules, but I might have some sway. But that's just my thought.
Well, if somebody wants to make a,
Make a motion. Grant the variance.
do we,
The limitations, like the 22 feet.
What is the picture of your house? You said
My house is 812.
that's an 812. If you had 812 on your, on the proposed garage, it was 812.
12. So,
Okay, that's the max. You wouldn't go to 812.
and I ordered it because.
Okay. Well, you can limit the 612.
And I said 22 feet. 22.
So,
That's what you're proposing. I agree.
so it, just for the record, the motion is to grant the variance to allow the taller the garage not to exceed 22 feet.
Okay.
Is that the motion? Yes, yes.
Yeah, if that's 612, I said it's 612, 22 feet, 1/8 of an inch or whatever it was. Yes. I agree, 100%.
So that's
Is that a second then?
Okay.
Okay.
So then, again, to make sure we have our ducks in a row, I heard the argument for no harm to public interests. What is the reasoning that it's due to unique property limitations? Like, we need to hear it so we can check off the boxes and move forward.
Yeah, I think the property limitation that he has is essentially he can't add it onto his house because of the way his property is laid out now. When it's reconstructed, he doesn't have the room to do what he wants on that side, on the side. So that's my reason for it.
And if he could add it onto the house, to his point,
He would.
he would be able to do this without a variance.
Correct. Okay. I have a motion. I have a second. Should we,
Sorry, I have one more box to check. Unnecessary hardship. What is the unnecessary hardship for Mr. Gibb?
the unnecessary, well,
Let's say that he can't put it on his house, I mean, in the way that the land lays out.
Unnecessary hardship is, yeah, you can't put it on his house, that his only option is in the backyard, and the backyard is the lower elevation, get to a flat spot, put the garage, and if you want her, unless you want her box truck, you're rolling down in your backyard.
And why does that necessitate the 22 feet? I'm not trying to be a dick. I'm just trying to do.
Sometimes you don't know.
Yeah, I get it. Just trying to help you get there.
I always lean towards the aesthetics again. I mean, I think aesthetically, it would make the neighborhood look nicer and keep camaraderie with his neighbors.
The property limitations limit him from having the attached garage, which would allow him to do this. And I guess that limits him to a detached garage capped at 15 feet, which is unduly burdensome, to the average homeowner. I guess, especially when he's trying to make it comply. Especially when he's trying to make it comply with the aesthetics of the neighborhood.
Flat roof is gonna make it look like a chicken coop backyard.
So
So we checking all the boxes.
we got there.
I'll look at the attorney, make sure we nod heads and
Legalese, we got
I
this.
think he said he got there.
We're getting there.
Yeah, I think he said we got there. So
We got it.
all right. Any other questions, concerns? If not, then I'll call the vote. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Great work, guys. All right.
Everybody.
Do we
real
have any?
quick, can our clerk or attorney just cover like next steps from here? Now this is granted.
Do you issue a written variance?
We issue a written variance and a finding of facts, and then we'll turn everything over to the building inspector.
Yep. Great.
It won't take long.
Thank you.
Do we have any correspondence at all?
None.
Any items for future consideration
No.
that we know of? I would just note that maybe it is time to think about taking a look at that ordinance too, because I do believe that especially in a rural community, I think it might not be a bad idea for the village to take a look at that that ordinance in its entirety. So that's all I have. If there's nothing further, we are in order to adjourn.
I make the motion, we adjourn this meeting.
Second.
Yeah, all right, Jeff second. Okay, perfect. I have a motion, a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed. Motion carries. We are out of here at 6:43. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
While to get